Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Alex, and I'm here to talk about another cartoon. You guys really liked my video analyzing Bluey's Sleepy Time, which that video kind of blew up for me. That's so cool, and I seriously, truly really appreciate it. I've been wanting to get more content made for this channel, especially after seeing how much everybody really liked that last one, and after reading all the kind comments. But I've just been busy, honestly. Truly, I've read every single comment on the video. I just haven't had time to respond to all of them. I've been busy with life, and I'm honestly just trying to get over a cold right now, so if my voice sounds a bit groggy or croaky or just overall gross in general, my bad. Don't let it distract you. Anyways, let's get to the topic of this video right here. So everybody and their grandma knows what SpongeBob is. It's been running since 1999, has 3 movies. I've only seen the first 2 though. And has sadly, and I say sadly because it's not what the creator, Steven Hillenburg, originally wanted, the show has spawned a multitude of spin-off shows and hasn't really slowed down since. The original first few seasons were peak television for me, especially during my childhood. I, like many others, watch SpongeBob reruns to this day. You can watch the first few seasons, which is really all you need, on Amazon Prime without having to pay for another subscription. So every now and then I'll do that either by myself, with friends, or with my spawn. Now, if you've watched SpongeBob before, you'll hear it quoted everywhere. Everybody has a favorite episode or favorite line from the show that they distinctively remember. And none of this is really news to you. There's probably thousands upon thousands of videos talking about SpongeBob on the internet. But this is what I want to discuss. I want to talk about maybe the most important SpongeBob episode there is. And that episode is BAND GEEKS. See, I know BAND GEEKS is many people's personal favorites. It's definitely up there for me, probably my top 3. That said, I don't really want to talk about favorites. Favorite is subjective. I could find one episode hilarious and you could find it mediocre, and vice versa. Favoritism works that way. I don't need to dive into it. With what I said though, it's that it's important. See, there are countless SpongeBob episodes being made, even to this day, that someone like myself doesn't even have a clue about, despite me quoting the show nearly every day. There's a lot of room for new favorites and new memorable lines, but most would venture to say that the show peaked at its original first 4 seasons followed by the movie. The first movie canonically is the ending of the show, according to its creator, but Nickelodeon wanted to keep the show going for money. Now, none of that necessarily matters for the purpose of this video, despite the fact that Steven Hillenburg mostly just left the series after that, which is when the quality of the episodes started to gradually decline. That's naturally what makes those first few seasons so iconic. They're great, and I think the majority of those who have watched the show have connected with those original seasons the most. They resonate. Now, the reason I think BAND GEEKS is the most important episode is because it's about Squidward. The show is called SpongeBob Squarepants, and there are certain episodes that focus on other characters than SpongeBob, for sure. But this particular episode focused primarily on Squidward. Sure, there are other episodes that focus on Squidward too, such as Squidville and SB129. But this one differentiates itself from those in that Squidward for once finally wins. Again, it's no surprise to anyone who's grown up with the show, but when we were all kids watching it for the first time, I would venture to say that majority of people related to characters such as SpongeBob or Patrick the most, with Squidward kind of being just the grumpy pessimist.
Look carefully at the "I really wish I weren't here right now" button.
Nobody wanted to be Squidward at the time, but we all grew up to relate to him the most. The episode starts with Squidward playing his clarinet and is interrupted by a knock, both metaphorical and physical, from a veterinarian. Which there's a theory that he was paid off by Squilliam to degrade Squidward more, and there's also a theory that Squilliam is a fraud, which I'm not getting into with this video. But I think it's funny that Squilliam calls Squidward just to gloat. We all have dreams of reaching our creative potentials just to get them all squandered working jobs we need just to support ourselves. Just like Squidward. Plus, I'm pretty sure we all have people we grew up knowing that found financial success, and some of them might have even been rivals to ourselves, just like Squidward and Squilliam. Right now, it's literally easier than ever to keep up with people you do or don't know and see whatever they choose to post. You can like them, you can hate them, but you can still see their updates. It could be a facade, it could be real, but it's still there for you to see. It reminds me of Squilliam checking in on Squidward just to dunk on him. I don't want to summarize this episode given the majority of people have probably already watched the whole thing, but I do want to note that I think it's cool that when Squidward puts the "read this" signs pertaining the information to joining the band, you can see all the characters where they would probably naturally be. Sandy's just out on a walk being active, Plankton found his probably trashed on the ground, like him. Mrs. Puff is outside a bakery, which Mrs. Puff is dummy thick, so that makes sense. 'Cause she thick.
Oh, Neptune.
Mr. Krabs is just on the toilet doing nothing at the Krusty Krab, probably while SpongeBob and Squidward are working. And Larry the Lobster is in a public shower, probably at the gym. It's the little attention to detail moments like these that really make me appreciate the show even more than I already do. I also think it's hilarious that everyone is just blah blah blahing while waiting for class to start. Squidward starts to get the class going and almost gets skewered in the process, stating,
Too bad that didn't kill me.
as an adult, lines like that aren't necessarily relatable, per se, but more so humorous. I feel like this generation of people that grew up watching SpongeBob would say things like that to little inconveniences. Like I said, we've all kind of just become Squidward.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
Why, you?
A few moments later.
The scene is so hilarious to me because of the ambiguity of what happens outside. The moment of silence followed by Patrick's scream just 100% seals the deal for me. It's still hilarious to me after all these years.
Whoever's the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
On day 2 of the flag twirlers, side note, one of them is Fred freaking Wretched, the my leg guy. Squidward copes with their deaths by immediately just laying down on the ground, going into the fetal position. This again is another current day running joke people would just say they do in times of stress, and some people actually probably would do a fetal position kind of pose to relax themselves, I guess. On day 3, Plankton is the smallest person there with the smallest instrument, and it's still too big for him, and it nearly kills him to play. It's just hilarious. On day 4, the band hasn't learned much more since they started, and tensions are high amongst each other. Squidward tries to calm everything down, but eventually everyone gets into a fight with the instruments. But the best part about the scene is that when the clock ticks 10, class is just over and everybody stops the chaos. They run into Squidward, who says,
You took my one chance at happiness and crushed it.
blaming everybody else. But he also says that he had really expected better in everyone.
I guess I'm a loser for that too.
Squidward is just projecting in this scene. Not once have we seen a single person in this class question him or his talents, make a snarky or rude insult to him, or even actively ignore him, besides the whole fight where they couldn't really hear him. At this point, Squidward is insulting himself, which I think is really important for his character. He's so caught up in trying to make his dreams come true that he's letting his fears and insults repeatedly driven into him by other people like Squilliam hold him back on an emotional level. He even says he'll tell Squilliam everyone died in a marching accident, keeping up the facade that he does have a band of his own. We see that over the course of 4 days, Squidward tries to turn his life around, and I think that's relevant with society today. People expect change to happen quickly, whether they put in the work or not. They can work as hard as possible, but change and progress takes time, and Squidward tried to change his and everyone else's life so drastically in such a short amount of time, just over half a week, mind you, that things didn't work out for him. Yet. Squidward leaves and SpongeBob manages to band people together, no pun intended, to stick around and give it their all for Squidward. The technique SpongeBob uses is interesting. Basically, he just says everyone pretends Squidward is someone who helped them in their life in one way, shape, or another. Not to get too preachy, but it's interesting that you can change and grow the most for the people you care the most about, whether that be yourself or for others. They practice throughout the night.
Now let's make Squidward proud. Come on, a two, a skilly-dilly-doo.
See, for the end of this episode, I don't want to talk about what happens, but rather why it works so well. The ending is so spectacular and grand, not only because of the surprise performance, but it brings the characters to us. It brings them into the real world, a la the Bubble Bowl. And you can actually see humans in crowds in a football field. It's bridging the gap between the cartoon show and our real life. It's an event. Like I said countless times, a lot of us grew up to be Squidward. We'd rather be focusing on what makes us special and talented and out enjoying life, be it through music, art, or even just feeling good about the way we looked that day. We all have these amazing desires hidden under our surface level negative outlooks in life, but that's not who we are. We get frustrated and try to rush things, overshare, blame anybody but ourselves, expect the worst in people, and sometimes just expect the worst in general. We are Squidward. But in this episode, Squidward wins. We win. We get to achieve our dreams. We have to put in the work and try, and as frustrating or unproductive as it may appear, at least we gave it a shot. That's what Squidward did, and that's what can happen to all of us. That's why I think this is the most important episode of SpongeBob Squarepants. This episode doesn't focus on the sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea. No, it focuses on us. We even get a freeze frame to give ourselves an extra chance to enjoy that sweet, sweet victory. Alright, so that's the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I wanted to do another video essay, but rather than dissect a whole episode of a show, I wanted to give you my biggest takeaways. Once again, thank you so much for the love and appreciation on my last video. I wasn't expecting that many views or comments. If you like this video, give it a like or a comment. Go for it. You can subscribe too if you want. I won't always do video essays like this. I really want to maintain the idea that this is my channel and I'll upload whatever I feel like uploading. But hopefully you like my stuff enough to stick around and see what more is to come. SpongeBob is and always has been one of my favorite shows, and it was cool to finally be able to make a video about it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Alex, and I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, thank you.